Last week in Fuji, Hector Alvarez put on a dominant display, leaving his rivals in the dust while chaos unfolded behind him. Penalties and incidents shook up the running order, taking a toll on Travis Newsom and defending champion Edgar Ruiz. In the AM class, Tyler Cateau emerged victorious in a thrilling three-way battle with the Newsom brothers, finishing third overall and proving that the AM class drivers are more than capable of mixing it up at the front. Now the TORQ SportsCar Series arrives at Monza, where history, high speeds, and heart-stopping moments are guaranteed. Last time we raced here, the action was relentless, and tonight should be no different. The slipstream battles will be fierce, the braking zones unforgiving, and the fight for victory as intense as ever. We go green at the Temple of Speed, live next on ASN. Our venue for this evening is the virtual Monza circuit. Built in 1922, Monza is one of the oldest and fastest circuits in the world, earning its nickname the Temple of Speed. This 3.6-mile layout in Italy features legendary corners like the high-speed Curva Grande and the tight Variante del Reggio chicane and the Parabolica, which test their drivers' commitment on corner exit. Monza has hosted countless historic moments in Formula One and endurance racing, with dramatic slipstream battles and photo finishes defining its legacy. Its long straights and high-speed corners make it a true test of raw speed and precision. The format for the TORQ SportsCar Series is as follows. We are in a 15-minute solo qualifying session to determine the grid for our 45-minute race, as the 7th season of the TORQ SportsCar Series continues tonight live on the Automotive Sports Network. With Bryan Sawyer in the production truck and also next to me in the commentary box, my name is Josh Mertz as we welcome you to Monza, Italy. Cameras all season on ASN, brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Be sure to check them out at facebook.com/WSimCams. And thank you, Andrew Cardinale IV, for all of your camera support. Mr. Bryan Sawyer, we had Hector Alvarez not putting a single foot, toe, whatever appendage wrong, while his competitors faltered going for the win last week. We saw some shenanigans in AM. Tyler Cateau won. How are you, and what are your thoughts as we head to Monza?
Josh, I'm having a bad time. A lot of technical problems on this side, but we're trying to work through it. But Monza's always an adventure. That turn one's gonna be it's gonna be something.
As take it from me, who just ran the GT4 Challenge race, your race can be won or lost in the first chicane. We've seen it in the real world, of course, in Formula One, and the GT4 race, super exciting a couple of moments ago. If we can take a look at programming notes, and then we'll take a look at points if we have those, but we'll take a look at programming notes first for our upcoming shows on the Automotive Sports Network. We do have the iRacing Rallycross Strength of Field races on Saturday, the 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern, and Bryan Sawyer all by himself going to run that. I think it's going to be 4 races, hour long, maybe hour and a half, who knows. Super fun, just an entertaining night, as he's going to have some fun with those. TORQ is off next week. No Tuesday, no Thursday, so that is correct. Our next broadcast will be the opening round of Season 6, of NASA Rallycross Lights at Charlotte. That's the 2nd of March at 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll have Ethan Halsey and Josh Darnell for that one. NASA Rallycross Contenders at Charlotte. You'll notice the TORQ IndyCar Series. Their first race back is at Indianapolis in a couple weeks, and we'll be back at Hockenheim on the 6th of March. So, taking a look, I think maybe with our technical difficulties, I don't know if points. I don't know if points are going to be happening tonight.
They should work.
Let's take a look. You're also doubled up internally, just so you know. I can hear your beautiful voice twice.
Everything.
I mean, that's fine. Let's take a look at points. Hector Alvarez up by 15 over Jose De Leo, Edgar Ruiz, Zach Saunders, who got adopted by the Puerto Ricans. That's a joke on the TORQ Discord. Ramirez, Arenz, Oquendo, Correa, Coxon, and Allen. The top 10. And in the AM class, it's looking pretty interesting as well. And El Crudo, Cateau, Newsom, Izquierdo, and Tommy Kelly, the top 5 there. And if we can maybe take a look at the teams and the manufacturers, let's see. As it's the Puerto Rican teams up front. again. They've got their, is that 5 different teams? 4 different teams in the top 5. And if we take a look, there's, I think, 6 or 7 Puerto Rican teams. And Ferrari leads McLaren in the Manufacturers' Championship. Let's see if the Tifosi will cheer on the Ferraris here today. So in qualifying, Jose De Leo is second. Ricardo Delgado finished his run. 1 minute 47.908 is the 31, done with his run. De Leo is on his final lap. We will not have any bumping from this race, I don't believe, because I think we've got 47 cars. Maybe I counted wrong. 40. Counting's really hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope. 48 on the dot. So nobody gets bumped today. And nothing was worse than being the one car that got bumped last week. That's the worst feeling. But let's pick up Jose De Leo if we can.
I don't know who we're on, but I'm restarting internal timing. So we get who we get for just a minute here. The instant replay system said we're not going to work tonight, so I'm trying to restart that before the race, see if we can actually get
looking at Michael O'Dell as he crosses the line in the 197. 1 minute 48.428, goes to 7th quick. Bryan Coxon, Jose De Leo. De Leo is heading towards the Ascari chicane, 8, 9, and 10. No banking on this track, completely flat, very hard to put the power down, especially in these GT3s. The GT4s were super hard earlier on because you have anti-lock brakes in those cars, but you still have to find the best braking point because if you go a millimeter too far, you're going to go through the chicane and not around it like you should. And also the traction control can kick in. I'm taking a look at Jose De Leo while we fix our internal timing. He came off the Parabolica. The final corner across the line. Will he improve? Crossing 1 minute 48.103. He improves barely, but it's still not good enough for pole position. Where's Bryan Coxon? Coxon begins his 3rd lap in car number 23. He is searching for 0.2 of a second, Bryan. Down to the first chicane. Filio chicane. So tough to get this right. I got to slow down on the right-hand portion of that chicane. You go too far over to the curb, you're not going to get an off track. iRacing is going to slap you in the face with a nice, healthy 1.5 second slowdown. And that's how Zach Saunders got by me for the podium place. Otherwise, we were doing pretty good. Started 6th, ended 4th. Coxon down to the second chicane. The Rogia chicane. Tricky one, too. The entry is tighter than it seems. Angles further. You have to slow down much faster than you think you need to. Otherwise, you're going to fly over the curbs. Through the Curva de Lesmo 6 and 7, gliding through. You can pick up the throttle mid-corner, push way out to the AstroTurf, and now down the backstretch under the famous banking that used to be ran in the 20s, 30s, 40s, up to the mid-60s, I do believe, for the Italian Grand Prix. Up the hill to the Ascari chicane. About half a car width off is Coxon. You really want to hit those sleeping policemen, but it's a catch-22, because if you hit those sleeping policemen, the car is going to bounce. Bouncing car, no fun. Through that chicane, now down the back straightaway to Parabolica turn 11. And we say that the corners here are tricky. It's a common theme through the final corner. Coxon gets the throttle down, uses the AstroTurf. Not sure if that's going to count as a slowdown, but across the line is car 23. What will he do? 1 minute 48.4. He does not improve. Let's head back to Edgar Ruiz if we can. Car number 80. And our defending champion here in the TORQ SportsCar Series. Heading up the hill to the Ascari chicane, named after Alberto Ascari, former Formula One world champion. And now out of turn 10, down the straightaway to the Parabolica. His lap right now, his fastest was a 1 minute 48.442. He sits in 10th. We've got Tyler Cateau as well. We'll pick him up in a second. Cameron Dick is in 4th. He completed his laps. Brandon Holmes is done, so it's really Ruiz and Cateau are the cars that we will focus on. And Ruiz across the line goes P1. 1 minute 47.906 by 0.002 of a second. Defending champion Ruiz to the point in Monza. Wow. And the margins so fine, so minute. And let's pick up Tyler Cateau. Rather, let's not. He has parked it. Heading towards the second Lesmo. Turn number 7. He is done with his qualifying run. Chris Spear also done with his. Cameron Dick done with his. Norman Padavani done with his.
Josh,
So at the dying moments...
You're going to go radio style for a hot minute. Just letting you know that.
Exquisite. Now I really have to figure out what to talk about.
You're going to have a fun
we will
time.
not have any pictures.
We're not going to have any pictures just for a minute. The program decided to fix itself. We're kicking butt now. I just got to make iRacing behave.
Exquisite.
Full
Apologies,
disclosure,
Tyler Cato.
Internal timing system decided to update today, but also said I'm not going to install on your computer.
Great.
I have been downloading the internal timing software for the past hour. It has decided to do it. It's a very small program too, so that's it's always a fun thing.
I would say let's take a look at our grid, but I will take us through our grid here in Monza. Edgar Ruiz and Ricardo Delgado on the front row of the grid. Then it's Jose De Leo and Bryan Coxon on the second row. Cameron Dick and Tyler Cato. Cato, the leading AM-class driver, in 6th. Travis Newsom, Michael Odell, Manuel Sandoval, and Miguel Colon round out the top 10. Nathan Kretschmer, Alberto Ramos Izquierdo, Christian Oquendo, Carlos Villavicencio, Corey Allen, Armando Arenz, Norman Padavani, Chris Wilkie, Tommy Kelly, and Alex Rivera through 20th. Miguel Alcrudo, who won another GT4 race. Shout out to him. Good run, my friend. That was a brawl watching you and Crudo earlier on. He's in 21st. Cartwright, Luis Ortiz, Wilton Palermo, Brandon Holmes, Ramon Vasquez, Zach Saunders, James Earl Jones, Rafael Sosa, and Ian Balestra through 30th. In 31st will be John Otani. Then it's Dan Corritto, Franklin Gatz, Omar Esvito, Darius Timms, Juan Chiriquena, Christian Zarate, Guillermo Seguenza, Eddie Boyles, and James Kingsbury through the 40th position. Skylar Somerville, Doug LaRosa, Luis Lopez, Juan Hidalgo, Deegan Orquides, Ruben Caceres, Chris Spear, and Jeff Sepulveda, 48th and shotgun on this field. Now, if the gap between Ruiz and Delgado was 0.002, get your hard hats, get your safety glasses, get your vests, all of your PPE, okay? Because this is going to be a dogfight into turn 1. Because you don't want to let any time slip away. You don't want to let any of your competitors get an advantage as we roll in Monza. And Ruiz is not rolling off the grid. Now he rolls. Maybe playing some mind games with Ricardo Delgado. I would do the same thing, really. So, DeLeo and Coxon, Cameron Dick, Cato in 6th, like I said. Cato had a great run, great battle with Travis Newsom as well. Newsom got hit on the pit entry, and it ended up having him speed in the pit lane. And he had to serve a penalty and lost an abundance of time. Let's go with that. As we head down the back straight towards the Parabolica. Looks like we've got pictures back. Timing will come shortly. Thanks for hanging with us and dealing with this. Like Bryan said, we've got massive updates that decided to take forever to fix. And here we are. So, 40... Well, I see 45 cars. Urquidez, Caceres, and Sepulveda off the track. So 45 cars, 45 minutes. And the last time we were here, we saw some shenanigans. On the front row, defending champion Ruiz and Ricardo Delgado as the safety car will head to pit lane. Thanks for joining us on ASN as we get ready to go green in Monza. Green flag for Ruiz. What a jump. He's already got about a 3, 4, maybe 5 car length lead. Delgado, DeLeo, 2-car tandeming down the front straightaway. We've got Coxon as well. Cato, Dick, Odell, Newsom, Sandoval, and Cologne, the top 10. Down to the first chicane for the first time, side by side for third. No contact throughout the field, side by side. Very respectful. No issues so far. A couple cars mounting the curbs to avoid contact. Through the field, one car around. Corrido. And it's James Earl Jones in the 424, parked in the middle of the road, and it's tricky because there's no room for you to move. We got another couple of cars. It looks like they missed the chicane. You have to go through the bollards, and we had Christian Zarate mowing the lawn while Wanchi Rekenasari and Omar Esvito had to go through the bollards to avoid a slowdown here in Monza. A couple cars hitting the dirt. Contact between Brandon Holmes and Miguel Alcrudo. They hit again, heading towards the first Lesmo, battling for the 20th position, side by side. Holmes nearly gets passed by Luis Ortiz. Have we lost Ricardo Delgado? The man who started from second, he has blinked out of the session, and I think now he's back. But like I've said before, it's terrifying to race a blinking car. Michael O'Dell slipstreaming Tyler Cato down to the Ascari chicane. DeLeo and Coxon in second. I think we properly lost Delgado now, unless he comes back. And Cameron Dick, have we lost him as well? No. He just spun in the Ascari chicane, made contact with Michael O'Dell, and looped it from the 5th position. And for the second consecutive week, an issue for car number 32 after that heroic drive from the pit lane in Road Atlanta. At the end of the first lap, Edgar Ruiz leads by 1.5 seconds over Jose DeLeo. Delgado still in the session somehow. He just blinked back into second. He's a second off of Edgar Ruiz. Brandon Holmes has crashed in the 48. Interesting that he lost it on acceleration, slid towards the inside, and he will fall massively down the order, Bryan, at the end of this first lap.
Josh, I promise I'm here.
I'm going to assume...
We got a lot of things.
I'm going to assume that you're working on things.
I'm working on things. I'm trying to get the stream a little stable, but looks like we got a lot of accidents.
You're okay.
So
I got it.
A lot of people crashed out, it says. So when you're ready, we can take a look at some of them if you want any in particular. But just give me a scream and a shout, and we'll take a look.
I can absolutely still handle calls while you're working on things internally. If that's totally okay, you can bring replays up when you're ready. Up to you. It doesn't matter to me. We've got cars battling El Crudo and Rivera. This is for 18th position in the 021 and the 544 as we look at Alberto Ramos Izquierdo currently in 10th in the 777. Single file through, I would say, top 15. Padovani and Wilkie slipstreaming. If we could take a look at this, heading towards the Ascari chicane. Padovani, look, driver's right, he got close. Under braking, Acura v. Acura into the chicane, and he closes the door on Wilkie, takes the spot, move the 004 to the 16th position. And Wilkie, across the track, contact with Rivera, and 2 cars out. Rivera crosses the track. He's all good. And Rivera's trying to get going again, and it takes out Eddie Boyles. I'm not sure what kind of rejoin that was, Rivera, but that was... I get the frustration, right? But 2 laps into a 45-minute race, and a completely innocent bystander, Eddie Boyles taken out.
That's not good time for the Saints and Sinners cars this evening, Josh. We're going to take a quick replay. We're going to go look at Dan Corrido. Dan Corrido earlier this evening, right at the start, got involved in an incident. We're actually just going to go on board for him.
Just down the front straightaway to the first chicane, peeking to the inside. So many cars.
He just got turned from the rear. And, okay, so this whole incident here is pretty much all of the red I have for the lap 1 incident. I have Alex Rivera getting in an incident on lap 2.
And this is the incident that I just mentioned. So Chris goes out wide, overcorrects, and Rivera gets collected. But here's the issue, and I get Rivera's upset, right? Rolls across the track, stops, throws it in gear to get across the track, but I'm just not sure about this. Starts to swing out in front of traffic, and Eddie Boyles gets collected.
Yeah, not exactly. I mean, I see what he was trying to do, and I think the car just swung a little too wide. He's like, okay, well, we got Wilkie right behind me, or right on the other side of me, so he's there. Let me try and just do a full, like, spin-in-place donut. And it just kind of threw him out a little further than he was hoping.
So, Rivera has exited the pit lane, so has Chris Wilkie. I want to head back up front, because while Ricardo Delgado came back from cyberspace, he has clawed back from 0.8 of a second down to 0.2. He slipstreams the race leader Ruiz, gaining, lets off the gas, maybe saving some fuel. I would utilize all of this slipstream that you have, and you might be able to pressure the champion into a mistake. Ruiz ran it a little bit deep in the first part of the chicane. Delgado was 0.2 up that last time around on Ruiz, as Corey Allen and Oquendo are side by side in the first chicane. We've got one car, Chris Wilkie, just parked on the apex, trying to let everybody by. Nobody has any issues there. And Ruiz and Delgado, 0.4 of a second. And just a reminder, as while we're furiously trying to fix things behind the scenes, shout out, like I've said numerous times, shout out Bryan Sawyer for all the work that you do. There's a lot of work put in that I don't even know the scope of it.
I'm trying to get my fancy track map.
He's trying his best, but it's not cooperating. So, let's see what we've got.
That's the only way I can
battle-wise.
tell what's going on the track at large.
As Dan Carrito gets turned again by John Otani. Otani sent it to the inside where there was no room, and he claims that Dan brake checked him.
Well, let's find out.
Let's take a second look. What do you think? Otani just sends it, and Carrito's there.
Yeah, Carrito looked a little slow for the pace, but I don't know. Kind of hard to tell from our angle.
As we have lost Christian Zarate, just so everyone's aware, the first retirement of the
I
evening.
think Chris Wilkie got in another incident also.
And this was Chris Wilkie just sitting on... He was letting everybody by, like I mentioned. Just avoiding chaos in turn one.
That's still scary. Especially if you're planning a move right there, and there's you pull out, you go, oh, there's a car just stopped here.
We've seen plenty of Daniel Ricciardo-esque sends into turn one here in Monza. We saw those last season. And car parked where he was, not the safest bet. Last time around, Edgar Ruiz, 1 minute 48.3. 1 minute 48.7 for Delgado. Jose De Leo hanging tough here. He just fell out of the session or had a connection issue for a minute. I'm looking through the field, and we've got Doug LaRosa, Juan Hidalgo, Brandon Holmes, and Franklin Gatz. This is for 36th. And they're racing like it's for the World Championship. If we can potentially go back and take a look at this, because Hidalgo is slipstreaming, looking drivers left to the second chicane, side by side, down to the chicane. It's Porsche versus Ferrari. LaRosa runs deep. Holmes takes the spot. Hidalgo, I thought, was going to over-under. He does not. Tommy Kelly passes Miguel Alcrudo for the 17th position. I think we're going to see a move down the front straight, Bryan, for the race lead, because Ricardo Delgado is a 1/4 of a second away as Dan Carrito passes Guillermo Siguenza, and that is
he just took a really wide turn there to try and just keep speed and momentum.
As Ricardo gaining,
he's coming.
Less than a 1/10. Will we see a send? He's not going to do it.
No.
Like I mentioned a lap or so ago, I wouldn't give up the slipstream. He's saving fuel. By this logic, he can take the lead on the rotation.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up the slipstream. I wouldn't give up anything like that. I mean, you only have to be in first for the last lap. And you can, I mean, if you're sitting in second, I feel like it's a fun spot to just, okay, let's see where I can pass. If I can try and figure out like good spots to pick up some speed. And hey, this move seems like it will work here. And then you just try it. A couple laps. You got 25 of them tonight. So you go, okay, well, let's try it this time.
Villavicencio. This is a battle for 12th. Alberto Ramos, Izquierdo, and Crutch were battling 10th. And I'm trying to keep an eye. So much action, like we've said, with the capacity fields. We got Kretschmer and Izquierdo, Villavicencio, and Corey Allen. Allen had to steer right off of the 69. And now, here comes Christian Oquendo. We've got a two-car tandem down the straightaway, under the bridge, to the Ascari chicane. Who will budge first? Villavicencio takes the spot. Oquendo files in line. Off the road goes Kretschmer, battling Izquierdo for the 10th position.
Oh, you see that
Who's
up
mowing
front?
the lawn?
Who's
in the
blinking like
Mustang.
that?
That is Kretschmer in the 43. Allen looks to the inside of Villavicencio for the 12th position and takes the spot.
Well, Josh, we might be coming to the end of the blinker era in iRacing. Coming up next season, it looks like. So, that'll be something interesting. I don't know if you've read about it or not.
I have. We have lost Omar Esvito. He slid and lost it. And we're also taking a look. Is this El Crudo and Ortiz? Or this is Allen and Villavicencio. Two battles with two of the same looking cars. Allen takes the spot. We've got a snake of cars for 12th down to 18th, 19th position. Battle for the lead. Delgado, 2/10 away. Closed up on the race leader, Ruiz. Doesn't do anything with it. And I did read about the patch notes with the disconnecting and you get sent to the pits. It's going to be
it's
going to be interesting.
Some people are going to have a bad time. You start blinking and the iRacing says, no, you're not racing anymore.
Timms and Otani for 27th have come together in the second chicane. Timms saved the car and takes the spot. We had Miguel Colon go off the road in the 87. And Delgado has lost a couple tenths to Ruiz in the last half of a lap or so.
Let's see if this works. Oh, would you look at this? I could just do replays on my own. I don't know if it worked. Was I too far back?
It did. You were maybe a second too late.
Wow.
Because it caught the
tail
right
end of it? That's okay.
Yes. With Miguel Alcrudo and Tommy Kelly. Alcrudo loses a spot in the 544. Actually, he doesn't. Kelly blinked out, and then inside baseball, when someone blinks out on our screen and comes back, timing lists them as green like they made a pass on track. So it's a little confusing there. Norman Padovani and Armando Arenz. This is for the 15th position, if we can pick this up. Down the front straightaway. We've also got Carrito and Esvito. They are battling, exiting the Parabolica. But Vasquez and Balestra. And we've got Padovani and Arenz into turn one. Side by side. Padovani turned in, and it accordioned the entire pack when he turned in a little bit too soon. Kelly's there, Alcrudo, Ortiz, and Saunders.
That's a decent little... Oh, that's so cool.
Side by side through Curva Grande, down to the Rogia chicane, Alcrudo and Kelly. Alcrudo holds the position. Race lead is 3/4 of a second. No change there. Taking a look through the field. No battle, it looks like. So we will stay focused on this cluster of cars with Miguel Alcrudo, Norman Padovani, Armando Arenz right around the 15th position. Guillermo Sequenza as Luis Lopez goes off the track in the 077. I don't know if we can pull up a replay of that, but it's a perfect example. Luis Lopez, the 077. Let's see if it'll pull it up.
What position is he in? Oh, there he is. How long ago was this?
31st. Maybe 10 seconds.
I'm going to hit 30 seconds and hit replay. See what happens here. Is this too far back?
This is perfect. This explains, as we look there, what happens when you run a little bit too deep, you brake a little bit too late. You straight line that first chicane, you have to slow down further than that, and then you have a nice trip over the sleeping policeman sausage curbs. It's not a very fun time.
It's a lot of speed to lose.
Surprised that he didn't get a slowdown either. If we could take a look at Balestra and Vasquez for 23rd. Ian Balestra was crossed up, exiting the final corner of the Parabolica, and now down the front straightaway, it is Ferrari versus Corvette. depending on who you ask, the Corvette is the poor man's Ferrari. One car ahead around is Norman Padovani, Balestra, and Vasquez. Balestra takes the spot. Vasquez complains under acceleration, but he does get the bite out of the corner. Can't do anything with it. Padovani falls from 16th to 22nd.
I am that person you ask. You look at the Ferrari, it looks so beautiful, front to back. You look at the Corvette, beautiful up front. What the hell happened to the back of the car? It is so ugly. The back end of the Corvette is the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
If I would tell my wife that you said that the Corvette is ugly, and she's doing a gesture that I can't repeat to you right now, as we could take a look as Zach Saunders had a massive oversteer moment through the second Lesmo. He's going to drop a couple positions. All that dust kicked up is from the 117.
And all that dust comes on track now.
Well, we remember, was it Portimao? It was Mugello, when it was basically a rallycross track. And battle for the lead. Down into the Parabolica. Ruiz defended, and now Delgado goes to the race lead. Ruiz is going to have the momentum here. Down the front straightaway. Surprised that Delgado made the move, but I think he just got a better exit out of the Ascari chicane. Gaining is Ruiz, defending champion, thinks better of it. Down to turn 1, but it sends Delgado deep on the first phase of the chicane. Ruiz is going to have a better run off of the second part, turn number 2, and he can slipstream on car number 31. Stay tucked up to the rear wing of the Corvette through Curva Grande down to the Rogia chicane, 4 and 5. Ruiz backs out of it and saves some time. Zach Saunders heads to the pit lane. Maybe he's got some damage when he had that off-road excursion. And now if you're Ruiz, are you going to do what Delgado was doing and stay in the slipstream, or try and force an issue? I don't think
staying
he can,
in the slipstream. I'm staying in the
Delgado's
slipstream.
half a second away. El Crudo and Arenz for 15th. El Crudo passes Arenz in the 544, moves up to 15th. Side by side, Michael Odell and Travis Newsom. Newsom on the outside to the Ascari chicane. Has to yield the place to Michael Odell. And this hurts him in his battle with his teammate, Tyler Cato, in the 18 for the AM class. As Alberto Ramos Izquierdo and Corey Allen battling for the 11th position. If we could pick this up, Allen slipstreaming. Ramos Izquierdo channeling his inner Joseph Newgarden down the back straightaway, snaking his way to the Parabolica. And the 777 holds the 11th spot for now. And back to the race lead again. I apologize, Bryan, but we've got action everywhere. Ruiz slipstreaming, bump drafting. Ricardo Delgado down to the first corner. And Delgado holds the lead. Galeo in second as well. Sosa passes Arenz as Arenz hits the pit lane. And now 3 cars. And if Coxon gets closer, we're going to have 4 cars. 4 cars within a second and a half for the race lead. As I think while we don't want to step away from a potential battle for the race lead, we're about halfway through here in Monza. We'll go ASN nonstop, and it'll give Bryan a chance to fix some stuff internally. Stay tuned.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're so interesting.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything.
I like it.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous with your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. NordVPN.com. NordVPN. Safely be you. Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers by skill-based matchmaking. Competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel.
Absolutely be doing what he has to do. He has to go for the championship. He has to recover the points that he lost. You know, down takes the lead in the duel. What a move. And he takes the lead. Exiting turn one, over the jump to begin the first lap clock at the inside line. McFarland contact between them. They are still side by side. This opens the door for Wetz. He can't make anything happen. Over in the 26, he has not won in quite some time. Rackster acing the entry to turn one, up and into the inside of Magnus, gives him a nudge. The grip strip on the inside. Phil Wentz had a little bit better time, but looks like he's going to speed. We welcome you back to Monza in Italy for round 3 of season 7 of the TORQ SportsCar Series. Live on the Automotive Sports Network with Bryan Sawyer in the production truck and also next to me in the commentary box. My name is Josh Mertz. We're about halfway through this race. And pit stops aplenty. We had some crashing in the pit lane as well. We'll get to that in just a moment, but just a reminder, cameras all season on ASN, brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Be sure to check them out at facebook.com/WSimCams. And thank you, Andrew Cardinale, for your camera support. And if you like what you see tonight, be sure to like and subscribe to the Automotive Sports Network on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. And ring the bell to be notified of our live streams weekly, along with our short-form video content. If you'd like your content broadcasted, ASNTVUSA.com. We can take a look at program notes if you want, Brian, but we've got some action to take a look at right now.
We can look at those later, Josh.
Crashing in the
I'm
pit
going to
lane.
try and look at some of these replays. I don't exactly have crash notifications, but I have got meatball flag notifications for some drivers. So we're going to click on those and see what happens. We got Chris Spear getting a meatball flag. We're going to see if we can find out why. Maybe not. What if I professionally roll backwards?
He's been in the pit lane for a while, so
All right.
I would...
He's not. Let's Balestro. Let's see if we can pull these.
So Balestro was trying to pit. I think we might be a little bit behind it, so we can go ahead and roll. I want to update you. We don't have to go to it, but the race leaders have just pitted together, first and second. Jose DeLeo as well. Colon as well. Sandoval stays out. So this is Balestra coming to the pit lane, and he goes to pit and gets drilled on pit entry.
Oh.
And that is a meatball flag, black flag with the orange disc, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's
Let's head to the race leaders if we can. They both have dropped off the jacks. Delgado exits in front of Ruiz, which I don't believe that changes the position. It does not. DeLeo exits in third from this cluster. So now, Sandoval leads yet to pit. Al Crudo, I don't think is pitted. Delgado right ahead. And as Brian Coxon inserted himself in the battle with DeLeo, he has Coxon and DeLeo battle for... I think this is third on the road when this comes unglued and comes together, I should say.
You want to know an easy way to test this or figure that out? We just go look at pit times. Top 2 haven't pit, so they'll probably fall back. So this should be the battle for 3rd.
DeLeo looks inside. Will he send it? He does not. Crosses over and thinks better of it. So when Sandoval and Alcrudo pit, this is going to leave Delgado a second, 1.2 seconds rather, in front of Ruiz. Coxon has DeLeo all over the rear wing. We've got Newsom ahead of Cato in the battle for the AM class. So that was a rotation on the pit stops between the teammates.
I'm a little curious, Josh, if you want to go look on your side, what happened to Josh Otani? It says he went to take his pits, and then he towed to pits while he was in the pits.
So John Otani in the 89. I'll roll it back and take a look.
While you're doing that, I'm going to roll back to Carlos Villavicencio.
I'm not sure. I don't have an answer for you. He parked and then reset to pit.
Weird.
Was this Carlos Villavicencio in the 69?
He just had an incident on lap 14 here.
Is that... I think that's Alcrudo behind him, potentially. Down the back straightaway.
Oh, I see. Yep, I see what I did. I have the thing.
I
have my
into the parabolica.
Thing way too far back.
And contact between them. And around Villavicencio goes.
Just got turned and, went all the way. That's not a fun. On a turn. That's awful to get out of.
So
he lost so much time.
Delgado leads ahead of Ruiz, ahead of Coxon, who is 3/4 of a second ahead of DeLeo. DeLeo, they have Jeff Cartwright in between them, so this might help DeLeo getting some slipstream on the straightaways. And you'll notice
getting kicked up.
Travis Newsom, Tyler Cato with a new livery, the F-bomb police, which that's a funny story. There was a hosted practice session this morning. I can't remember exactly names, so forgive me. Someone was mad and said a bunch of F-bombs, and I think it was Jose DeLeo that came over into the Discord chat and said, "Why are you yelling and why are you mad in a practice session?" So they are representing the F-bomb police today in the 18 and the 19, respectively.
Let's see what we can do here. I kind of want to look at
So 16 minutes left to go. We'll have a battle between the teammates or the AM class win.
Or just stay at patrol. Beautiful.
Officer Cato, that's great. I didn't even see that part of it. That's awesome. Edgar Ruiz is wringing the neck of the Acura to try and catch Delgado in the 31. We've got a couple of lap cars potentially in the way. Spear is coming up in 41st. Then it's Ian Balestra in the 37. Delgado came over radio, didn't hear what he said. If I'm him, I'm saying get out of my way because the leaders are coming and there's a battle for the lead brewing potentially. Into the field, do we have any battles?
I think the closest thing we got right now is Franklin Gatz.
28th. Look at that. Skylar Somerville and Doug LaRosa for 35th. As we hit just over 15 minutes. Allen and Kretschmer for 10th. The 75 and the 43, if we can pick this up, down to the first chicane. Allen takes the spot. Kretschmer slipstreaming. Backs out of it. A couple car lengths away. Now, if I'm Ruiz, last time around, 1 minute 48.6. Delgado, 49.3. So that is 7/10 faster than Delgado is Ruiz, the defending champion. Surprising to see no car number 1 for Ruiz this season, but like we've talked about in other TORQ shows and NASA shows, car number 1's usually a heavy plate. Is there a reason why you haven't signed up as number 1 then in lights? For the heavy plate.
I don't want to change my paint.
You don't want to change your paint. That's a good reason. Sosa to the inside of Kelly. Side by side. Sosa takes the spot. Isn't it like 3 clicks, though? You're breaking my heart running those custom numbers. So, Ricardo Delgado, 4/10 up on Edgar Ruiz. We don't have to bring up the graphic. I'll tell you that TORQ is off next week, so our next show is the Saturday Rallycross Strength of Field Officials. It's 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll have Bryan all by his lonesome
I'll be
on
all
Saturday.
by myself.
There we go. And then it's NASA time.
That's 8 p.m.
NASA
Eastern,
Rallycross Lights
Josh.
in Charlotte
That's 8
on
p.m.
Sunday
Eastern.
the 2nd. I know how to read. Don't judge me. NASA Rallycross lights on the 2nd, 9 p.m. Eastern. Josh Darnell, Ethan Halsey. NASA Rallycross Contenders that Monday. So our next round will be in 2 weeks. And week off for the TORQ boys. So the teammates dueling for the lead in the AM class. Kato slipstreaming, thinking better of it. 13 and a quarter minutes left to go. I think it's going to be a slow burn for this little latter half of this race, because you don't want to make your move too soon. Think of it like a super speedway race. You don't want to make your move too early. You just want to stay behind your competitor at the last possible moment, make your move. Kato slipstreams Newsom. They've got a healthy margin of about 10 seconds over Alberto Ramos Izquierdo. So 777 on the AM class podium, out of the way. Speaking of out of the way, Jeff Cartwright has driven over the sausage curbs, exiting the 2nd chicane. And if we can go to the race lead, Ruiz got a better run through the 2nd Lesmo. He's going to slipstream Delgado down the straightaway, under the bridge, into the Ascari chicane. Middle of the road is Delgado. Where does Ruiz go? He gives him a nudge into the hairpin. Into the chicane! And Ruiz clips the dirt. A harrowing thing to happen when you clip it with the right side, because you are feeling like you're going to end up in the wall. And Ruiz gave up about 0.4 of a second there, Brian.
Yeah, it's not. Oof. That's a decent little gap to give up. But I know he's been trying this last turn here to see if he can get a line that will get him a pass before he goes wider here, trying to carry the speed. I think he's just trying to see, hey, if I go wider here and like try and get a better run, can I carry the speed to beat him to the line? It's not happening for him, but on these test laps, so I don't think it's going to happen for real here. I think he's going to have to probably try it, get the full speed on maybe the second to last lap, and try it in turn 1, 2 in the chicane.
Battle for the AM lead. Miguel Colon's going to insert himself in between the teammates for the AM class battle. And Newsom has now a pro class car of Colon between him and his teammate Kato. Kato lost it on the pit stop rotation in the 18. Through the field, we got Cameron Dick and Norman Padavani for 18th, battling side by side down the front straightaway. Cameron Dick looking, taking the spot, comes across, while Padavani's still there. Ricardo Delgado ran a little bit wide in the first Lesmo. Ruiz is all over the rear wing. Will we get a better run down out of the 2nd Lesmo to the Ascari chicane? 0.3 of a second is the gap. I'm trying to take a look through the field at a couple battles. Franklin Gatz and James Kingsbury for 27th.
I don't want to single anybody out, Josh, but just a broadcasting note to all you racers watching this back. You see how Norman Padavani's number plate matches his car? You can do that by selecting the first car, the first paint swatch in iRacing Paint, the paint tool, and just change it to whatever your car is. I know you're not using iRacing Paint Builder, you're using Trading Paints, but I can still pull that number. Like I said, I don't want to single anybody out, but Cameron Dick, your car's not white. It could be a nice green.
So Chris Spear came out in front of Travis Newsom, and it affected Newsom with Colon as they battle.
Hey, Josh,
speaking of a battle for the lead, Ruiz looks drivers left. We have under 10 minutes left to go. We are side by side for the lead in Monza. Who's going to break latest? Between Delgado and Ruiz, Delgado holds it. Ruiz should have a better run through the 2nd phase of this chicane. Delgado pulls away. Ruiz slipstreaming again. 0.3 of a second is the gap. Colon is still interfering with the AM class lead, as Ruiz trying to close that gap. He did what you were saying. He still and tried off the final corner. That's the best run that I've seen from Ruiz have.
That's the best run that I've seen also, but I think he's running into a problem maybe on the chicane also. It's full of marbles on the outside. Looks like a room full of Legos.
As Brian Coxon has pulled away from Jose DeLeo for the 3rd position. And Colon is not letting Newsom get away for the 6th position. Tyler Cato hates this, is his teammate is in front of him with a Pro Class car in the way. And just a reminder, with the way the AM Class scoring works, is you finish 5th, for example, you get 5th place points. You don't get 1st place points.
Ooh, and Cato
And if
pushing
your
a little
rival
hard
finishes
there.
10th, you do not get 2nd place points, you get 10th place points. All right. Will we have another run down the front straightaway, Bryan, as we take 8 minutes left? Delgado beginning to weave. Several cars doing the same thing. Will Colon make the move on Newsom for the 6th position, and it'll put Newsom in the clutches of his teammate, Cato. Ruiz had a better run through the first part of the chicane. Down through Curva Grande. And Colon passes Newsom for the 6th position. They're side by side. I wouldn't even get into a battle with a Pro Class car when you have your AM Class battle there, because if you get taken out. As Colon leads Newsom for the 6th position. Cato looking. Newsom looks drivers left. Colon puts him to the sand. Into the 2nd chicane. Side by side. Cato loves this, running deep as Colon. He has to come across, and they nearly touch. And here comes Cato in the 18. Newsom not happy over the radio, side by side for the AM Class lead between the teammates. Through the first Lesmo to the 2nd Lesmo, still side by side. Don't touch, boys. The number 1 rule in motorsport, don't touch your teammate. Cato to the race lead for the moment. We're side by side for the AM Class lead here in Monza with 7 minutes left to go. Side drafting like it's Daytona to the Ascari chicane. Newsom outbreaks his teammate, holds the spot for the moment. 7th overall. Will we see another move by Ruiz over Delgado? Delgado slips on corner entry, Bryan. Ruiz nice and tidy. 2.5 tenths is the gap. You have to
You
get
see
all the
Delgado
slipstream
now.
you can.
Delgado's now taking that wider line like Ruiz has been. I think he's taken it the last couple laps ever since he saw Ruiz go wide like that and almost get to the pass. I think he's just making the move just to say, well, you're not going there again.
Ruiz backs out of it. Easier into the first corner. I'll tell you what, who's catching these guys is Bryan Coxon. He's chipped away a couple tenths a lap, I do believe. Just an update between the teammates. I'll tell you what, though, Manuel Sandoval and Corey Allen are sneaking into the picture to potentially interfere between the teammates for the AM Class battle. Their 2 Pro Class cars are Manuel and Corey. We saw them battle at Daytona last season. One car kicks up some dust. I think that was Coxon in the 23. Delgado ahead of Ruiz. Ruiz was a tenth faster than Delgado the last time around. 5.5 minutes left. Newsom begins to gap Cato by about a second for the AM Class lead. And battles galore here in Monza. Into Ascari. Lap number 22. Off the corner. 1/4 of a second. Make it 3.5 tenths. From Delgado to Ruiz. As we cross under about 3 laps to go here in Monza.
I'm just going to leave that graphic up on the screen.
Newsom has
so
a
we can
second
see
and
the
a
gap.
half. Second and a half between Newsom and Cato. That battle for the AM Class win might have fizzled out. Looking through the field, pretty calm in the closing stages. Everyone minding their own business.
Look at him. Wachi Raquena trying to pass Omar Esvito. Down in P25.
Down the straightaway to the Ascari chicane. Raquena looks inside. Car number 2, car number 17. Raquena hit the curb, respectful, maintaining the space between the two. He clobbers the curb, runs a little bit wide, and gives up the spot. Newsom has dropped his teammate Cato. The gap is 1.8. And sweet redemption for Newsom after getting punted over the pit lane speed limit on entry there. And I'll tell you what, The leaders are coming up on a couple of lapped cars, Skylar Somerville and Doug LaRosa, 35th and 36th.
Yeah, it looks like
3.5 minutes left.
Looks like Newsom's kind of leaving Kato out to dry here, though. You want to beat your teammate, but you don't want to leave him in the claws of Sandoval and Allen here.
Take it from me, who raced multiple teammates for championships. You don't care when you're racing for a win. You get cars between you and the teammate, takes points away from your teammate, lengthens your points gap.
Oh, see, we're all about the team game here. I don't care if I win. I want the team to win.
Ruiz and Delgado. Ruiz looking outside into Parabolica. He might have it going into turn 1. Turns in. Gap is a 10.5 already off the corner. 2 3/4 minutes left. I think this is going to be 2 laps to go. We've got Ruiz slipstreaming. Delgado defending. Ruiz pulled out a little bit too soon compared to what I would have done, to be honest. Down to the first chicane. Side by side for the lead. Ruiz on the brakes. Delgado has to brake deeper to defend. And if these two come together, Coxon's going to love this. The gap is half a second. Delgado had a better run through the chicane, Bryan.
Hey, he already lost half a second. He lost 6/10 actually. That's a lot to lose. I mean, he was on the rear bumper coming into into turn 1.
Over the curb. Delgado messy through the second chicane. Ruiz closes. Just like that. You make a slight error like that. It is unforgiving here in Monza. As just an update, Tommy Kelly has spun from the 16th position. He gave up a couple spots. Delgado clips the grass. Exiting turn 7. Manuel Sandoval, Corey Allen battling for the 9th position. As they duel, we've got El Crudo and Izquierdo battling for the 12th position. As battles all over the track still. Holmes and Kingsbury in turn 1 for 28th. But our focus remains as we will come to, I think, the white flag this time for Ricardo Delgado ahead of Edgar Ruiz. And these two swapped places in the pit stop rotation, and it has been tense ever since. Barney's going to throw the white flag. It is less than a minute on the race clock, and we take the white flag in Monza.
He's not throwing anything there.
No white flag yet. Now
Nope,
it is.
now it
on
is.
timing.
Now it is. All right.
Ruiz gaining. He's running out of time. Backs out of it. No pressure. Delgado runs it deep in turn 1. This is what Ruiz needed, but he can't capitalize. Not a good exit out of turn 2. Through Curva Grande, they will be heading for the final time. Ruiz better run, though. Maybe to be a liar. Through the second corner. Down Curva Grande to the second chicane. The Rogia chicane. Will Delgado do it again? Nice
This is
and
the closest
tidy.
he's been
Ruiz
all
clips
race.
the curb, just a pinch.
He hasn't been
And
this
the
close
problem
this
is
far
that
back in
turn
the
1
track
is
all
really
day.
your best bet. Over the curb, Delgado rotated a bit too much. You hit that curve wrong and it will push you a little bit wide. Delgado feels the pressure. They were equal on lap times the last time around. If you're Ruiz, you have to send it into Ascari, as Parabolica is a bit too much of an ask. Ruiz gains under the bridge, up the hill to the Ascari chicane. He's not going to send it. Put a little pressure on Delgado. Maybe make a mistake through this. You can't flat-foot it in these cars. Gentle on the throttle, over the curves, down the backstretch. Ricardo Delgado started in second. Took the lead on the pit stop rotation. Ruiz has one last chance. Will he do the same thing? Delgado clips the curve, goes up the track just a pinch. And Ruiz got close, but I don't think it is going to matter. Across the line, Ricardo Delgado, by less than 0.2 of a second, wins it in Monza, ahead of Edgar Ruiz. Coxon in third, DeLeo, Odell, Colon. Newsom will win in the AM class, 2 seconds ahead of his teammate Kato. Kato holds off Allen for 8th, and Sandoval comes home in 10th.
We got Padavani and Villavicencio.
And Tommy Kelly and Cameron Dick crashed for the 17th position. We're looking at as Vito.
Looking at a bunch of blinky cars.
There's this Arenz. I think Arenz. Did he run out of fuel?
Oh! What the hell happened there?
Crosses the line. Massive crash for Cameron Dick.
At the line.
He's not happy. Yep. For the uninitiated in sim racing, that is the rage quit, kill your car at the checkered flag. And
I thought he was getting turned.
Let's correct that. Nope. Let's not have that happen again. As the field runs through, we have Luis Lopez holding off Ramon Vasquez for the 32nd position. It's Chris Wilkie. Wilkie will come home in 38th. And Chris Spear, we got Juan Hidalgo in the 34th position. Doug LaRosa, Skylar Somerville for 35th. The last position on track. The last cars to finish. Pull this back up. We got a battle for 35th. As they come off the final corner and across the line. Luckily, we didn't have a battle, Brian. Doug LaRosa holds the spot over Somerville for 35th.
It wasn't showing a battle over here.
Let's take a look at the results here in Monza. And we got a parking lot in the first chicane. Ricardo Delgado wins over Edgar Ruiz. Coxon, DeLeo, Odell, the top 5. Colon, Newsom wins an AM over his teammate Cato. Allen and Sandoval, the top 10 with Izquierdo and El Crudo through 12th. Finishing 13th, Nathan Kretschmer. Christian Oquendo, Rafael Sosa, Norman Padavani, Villavicencio, Arenz, Carrero, Palermo, Cameron Dick, Darius Timms, Tommy Kelly, and John Otani through 24th. 25th, Juanchi Requena, Franklin Gatz, Omar Esvito, Brandon Holmes, James Kingsbury, Guillermo Seguenza, James Earl Jones, Luis Lopez, Vasquez, Hidalgo, La Rosa, and Somerville through 36th. In 37th, Jeff Cartwright, Chris Wilkie, Eddie Boyles, Ian Balestra, Chris Spears, Zach Saunders, Luis Ortiz, Rivera, and Zarate was the last car who started the race. And he, 22 laps down, I think there was an issue there. As, unbelievably, I think we have most of our, we've got most of our podium already in the waiting room. Just let me know when you're ready. Who we pull up first? Let's see. We'll have a chat with Travis Newsom.
Okay, give me one moment. And, I don't know where that button went.
As our AM class winner, Travis Newsom, car number 19. As Travis, it's Josh and Brian in the booth. You got us?
How are you?
I am doing well, my friend. You had a nice battle there with your teammate Tyler. I guess just walk me through having a battle with him and then ending up with a car between you and him, and then you just dropped him.
Well, we were sort of working together, and then I sort of slipped up and made a mistake, and I thought he was going to pass me, but then he thought, I don't know, there was some miscommunication. And anyway, I think he ended up just making a simple mistake, maybe an off track, and then we just got out of draft for him, and I was just trying to chase down the guy in front of me. He was slightly faster, so I just tried to stay in his draft. And he was in another class, so I wasn't really trying to race him, but it ended up being a pretty fun battle, regardless.
I think it's unfortunate that your teammate couldn't make it 2 in a row, but sweet redemption for you from Fuji, especially when you get punted and you have no control over the car with the speeding penalty.
Yeah, couldn't believe that, but it is what it is.
It's a nice 1-2 for the team in class. Anyone you'd like to thank for the result tonight?
I'd like to thank Tyler himself. He made the liveries. They're funny, and we'll be changing it up every single time. And that's about it. You guys for putting on the event. Everyone who's watching, if they are. It's a fun time when everybody drives clean.
For sure, my friend. Good run, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Next up will be Bryan Coxon in the 23, third place overall, and in the pro class, of course. Brian, it's Josh and Brian. Do you got us?
Yeah, I got you.
you were, I don't think you were anywhere close to DeLeo for the opening part there. I could be fabricating that. But then next thing I know, you're battling and you passed him, I think on the pit stop rotation. So talk me through your race.
It was pretty good. Got a decent start, just stayed in fourth off the start. And then I was kind of passively trying to fuel save and kind of just see what everyone ahead of me was doing. And I was able to fuel save a little bit, and I decided to pit a little earlier than the guys ahead. I pitted with like 3 laps fuel left to take 2 left tires as well, just because I wanted to have the left tires get pretty hot around here, and I figured that might help. And I took a little less fuel, I think, and was able to challenge him for the spot coming into turn 1 when he pitted, or after he pitted, and was able to get it there. And then the rest of the race was just trying to see if I could maybe catch the leaders, but did not happen.
I guess one thought that popped into my head is, what were you thinking while you're watching them slipstream and battle? Hoping that something, that a mistake or that a crash happened, of course? Or what's the thought process there?
Yeah, just hoping they fight a little more, I guess. Whenever I see they're close on my relative, just hoping that like one of them goes for a move, or they go side by side through a chicane or a corner or anything. Force someone to go defensive so they lose a tenth or two, because that's just, in that case, when you're basically going the same speed. Otherwise, that's kind of how the best way to catch them is hope they fight.
For sure, my friend. Anyone you'd like to thank for the 3rd place this evening?
I guess Michael Odell. It was fun racing with him and talking with him. He had a good race, and he had almost no practice, so I'm glad he had a pretty good race, and it was fun getting to talk with him about our strategies.
Alrighty, my friend. Good run, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you.
A race winner, Ricardo Delgado. It's Josh and Bryan in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Doing well, my friend. For a little bit there, we thought that you were just slipstreaming Edgar, and you were just going to follow him and save the fuel. And the next thing you know, you got the position on the pit stop, and you held it, and he tried to challenge you there for a little bit. So talk me through your race. The floor is yours.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to just stick to him, not fight too much on the early stages, so we can create a gap to the rest of the pack. And he made a mistake getting outside for the back straight, and that's where I got him, going to Parabolica. And after that, I just kept forward, and on that pit stop rotation, I stick to the P1, and basically defend for the rest of the race.
So my question is, when I was running the GT4s earlier, it was super hard to pass here because you needed to really excel off the corner to get the slipstream down into the braking zones. And it seemed like for us, it was really only turn 1 was the best passing opportunity. Was that the case for you guys in the GT3s as well?
Oh yeah, GT3s with the last updates, they're really hard to pass. Like basically the draft has no effect, unlike before. So the passes on GT3 right now are on the heavy braking zones, and turn 1 was the one, or if the driver's up front just makes a mistake. But yeah, that's the way GT3s are right now.
For sure, my friend. Anyone you'd like to thank for the victory tonight?
Sure, I'd like to thank Sim Racing PR, always giving me a hands up, and Luis Ortiz, the man who makes my paint. And see you guys on the next one.
As I guess before we let you go, Bryan, you have anything for our race winner?
No, I'm all good. Working on
Silence.
points, Josh.
Yeah,
I forgot. Bryan's working on points.
Oh man,
he's a man of multiple jobs. All right, my friend. Good win, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thanks. See you.
I forget that Bryan Sawyer handles all the stuff, even points. Furiously typing in a spreadsheet, and it allows me to flap my gums and have some interviews. You can let me know. I assume maybe points are ready. Otherwise, we can take a look at some programming notes before we get close. Up to you, my friend. You're running this show.
I hit the
What do
wrong
we
button.
got?
All right.
We got something.
We're good. We're good. Let's see if this worked.
Is that DeLeo leading the Drivers' Championship?
I don't know why
Ruiz,
it's telling
Alvarez,
me GTP
Coxon,
either.
and Oquendo. That's okay. Like we've said, we had to fix this stuff 5 minutes before the show, so it might be a little bit buggy. So is that Jose DeLeo leading the championship? Alvarez down 2, because come to think of it, Hector Alvarez, I think he was in here. He just finished way down the order. No. Or was there no Alvarez? Timing's lying to me. I digress. Coxon up 5, Oquendo up 2, Allen up 4, Colon up 5, Odell up 7, Saunders down 6 in the pro class, as DeLeo leads by 10 over Ruiz. In the AM class, this is where it's going to get interesting. I'm curious to see what this looks like. Cato leads by 5 over his teammate Newsom. Alcrudo down 2, Izquierdo and Kelly don't move. Palermo up 6, Gats up 3, James Earl Jones up 1, Jesse Newsom down 3. He did not race tonight. Jeff Cartwright, not a good run for him. He's down 2, ending in 10th. The Constructors' Championship, I can tell you that one of the Puerto Rican teams are going to be leading this.
I don't know if this is
And
going
it's
to be
SimPR
right either.
Pro 1. Well, we already know with SimPR
No, it
having
is-
9 different
It
teams.
is right.
Is it
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I-75 had a good night.
As I, being transparent, forgot that the team's championship is scored as an overall thing.
It is.
So the I-75 boys could, as AM drivers, could maybe steal this away. They sit in second, as the Puerto Rican teams sit first, third, fifth, sixth, seventh, and 10th. Impressive for all of those guys. And the Manufacturers' Championship exiting Monza. And it's McLaren up ahead of BMW, Corvette, Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari down 6.
Ferrari
on
had a
home
bad
soil
night.
against Acura, Ford, and Mercedes-Benz. As let's take a look at some programming notes before we say goodnight on the Automotive Sports Network. And we've got the iRacing Rallycross Strength of Field races. It's going to be Saturday the 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have 4 races. Brian's going to be all by himself handling that one. Tracks, no clue. I think you're doing all 4 splits. Is that correct?
It should be whatever the officials are this week. I don't know what they are. We'll find out when they show up that night.
Exquisite, because I don't know what they are either. True professionals here at ASN. Our next race, then, with TORQ being off next week, is NASA Rallycross. That's bananas to even talk about. NASA Rallycross Lights for Season 6 will commence at Charlotte on the 2nd of March, 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll have Josh Darnell and Ethan Halsey for that. So TORQ IndyCar is back at Indianapolis on the 4th, and the TORQ SportsCar Series will be back at Hockenheim on the 6th. As just a reminder, that cameras all season on ASN, brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. And be sure to check them out at facebook.com/WSimCams. And thank you, Andrew Cardinale IV, for all of your camera support. If you like what you saw tonight, be sure to like and subscribe to the Automotive Sports Network on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. And ring the bell to be notified of our live streams weekly, along with our short-form video content. If you'd like your content broadcast at asnTVUSA.com. Ryan, you got a final thought for us?
It was a good race. I know the turn 1 at Monza is notorious for some massive incidents, so congratulations to everybody on lap 1, keeping it relatively clean. Looking forward to an off week. Got a few things to fix on my side because we had a small hurricane over here tonight, but yeah, I'm pretty stoked. Season's going great. That's about all I got.
It's going to be relieving for these TORQ guys, both in IndyCar, GT4, and the Sports Car Challenge, to have a week to prepare your setups, to get all the practice for Indianapolis for the IndyCars, for Hockenheim for these guys. I think in the GT4s we're also at Hockenheim. And just another note about the Endurance Series, we are still TBA on figuring out the first round for that. There were some unforeseen circumstances. We were unable to have that race on Saturday. So excited to see when that series will kick off. And once TORQ gets fully going with all 4 of their series, it's going to be a lot of fun to see those GTPs back in action and minding their own business in the Endurance Series instead of spoiling up with the GT3s in this series. Because we remember when we had those, it was messy depending on the circuit. But another capacity field in the TORQ SportsCar Series. The momentum builds and builds, and it's just going to get better from here after Monza tonight with the 48 cars. And speaking of Monza, the checkered flag has fallen on the evening. On behalf of our entire production staff and producer Bryan Sawyer, my name is Josh Mertz, as we thank you